On to probably our most important topic, discussing legal fees and billing with clients. Money is never an easy topic, even between professionals. Yet discussing legal fees is, like I said, it's one of the most important parts of our communication with the client. It requires clarity, professionalism, and sensitivity. When clients hire a lawyer, they often ask questions like, how much will this cost? Do you charge by the hour or by the case? What if I can't pay everything at once? For lawyers, knowing how to answer these questions in English, politely, clearly, and confidently, builds trust and avoids misunderstandings. In this lesson, we'll learn how to explain billing structures, use key financial terms like retainer, invoice, and trust account, and practice language for agreeing on fees and providing estimates. You will also learn grammar for discussing money naturally and accurately. Talking about fees is not just about numbers, it's about managing expectations, showing transparency, and maintaining a professional relationship. So let's learn how to do it right. By the end of this lesson, you will use practical vocabulary such as retainer, hourly rate, flat fee, contingency fee, invoice, disbursements, advance payment, billable hours, and trust account. You will use quantifiers and money expressions like a lot of, some, enough, too much, and a few to describe cost and payment conditions naturally in English. You will apply key legal phrases such as agree on a fee structure, issue an invoice, provide a cost estimate, and review outstanding balances. You will learn to communicate about money in a professional and culturally sensitive way, explaining costs clearly while maintaining client confidence. This lesson will help you handle one of the most delicate but essential parts of legal practice, discussing legal fees with clarity and professionalism. Imagine this: a client calls your office for the first time. She needs help with a property dispute and says, before we begin, I need to know, how much will this cost? The lawyer explains, it depends on the type of work. For consultation, we charge an hourly rate. For document preparation, we can offer a flat fee. We will provide a written estimate before starting. The client nods but still looks unsure. She asks, do I have to pay everything now? The lawyer replies, we'll ask for a retainer to start, and later you'll receive monthly invoices for the remaining work. This short exchange shows how important clear communication about fees can be. When lawyers explain billing terms with patience and professionalism, clients feel informed and respected. Throughout this lesson, we'll learn the vocabulary and expressions that make these conversations smooth, polite, and legally precise. A retainer is a payment made before a lawyer starts working on a client's case. It shows commitment and ensures that the lawyer's time and availability are reserved. Our example: the client paid a retainer to begin the case. There are two main types of retainers: general retainer, which is paid to keep a lawyer available for future work, even if no specific task is planned, or a special retainer, paid for a particular case or project, such as drafting a contract or representing a client in court. Imagine a client says, why do I need to pay before we start? The lawyer replies, the retainer confirms that we will dedicate time to your matter and start immediately. Any unused amount will stay in your trust account. Retainers help manage cash flow and clarify expectations. For clients, it creates security. For lawyers, it guarantees that early work like research or filing is covered. In professional legal English, retainer is the word that begins nearly every client relationship. An hourly rate is the fee a lawyer charges for each hour spent working on a client's matter. This system is common in many law firms because it connects time directly to value. Our example: our hourly rate for this case is $150. Hourly billing ensures transparency. Clients see how much time was spent and on which tasks. Lawyers usually record billable hours for activities like meetings, drafting documents, or court appearances. Imagine a client asks, "How do you calculate the total?" The lawyer explains, "We track every hour spent on your case. For example, 2 hours reviewing documents and 1 hour preparing a contract, billed at $150 per hour." Different lawyers and practice areas may have different rates based on experience or complexity. Junior associates may charge less, senior partners may charge more. The key advantage of an hourly rate is flexibility, but it can also make total cost unpredictable. That's why clear communication and accurate timekeeping are essential in client billing. A flat fee is a single fixed amount agreed upon for a specific service. Unlike hourly billing, it doesn't change based on how long the work takes. Our example: we charge a flat fee for preparing a basic contract. This structure gives clients certainty. They know the total cost before work begins. It's common for predictable tasks like drafting wills, registering companies, or filing trademarks. Imagine a client asks, "How much will it cost to prepare my lease agreement?" The lawyer replies, "We can do it for a flat fee of $500. That includes one consultation and all drafting." Flat fees are beneficial for both sides. Clients appreciate transparency, and lawyers can work efficiently without tracking every minute. However, lawyers must define the scope of work clearly in writing to avoid disputes later. In professional legal English, flat fee communicates clarity and fairness, a complete service at a predictable price. A contingency fee means that the lawyer's payment depends on the outcome of the case. If the client wins or receives a settlement, the lawyer receives an agreed percentage of that amount. If the client loses, the lawyer is usually not paid for their time. Our example: in personal injury cases, lawyers often work on a contingency fee basis. This type of fee arrangement is common in civil cases where clients may not have money up front, such as personal injury, employment disputes, or consumer claims. It allows access to justice for those who cannot afford to pay hourly fees. So you can imagine a client says, "I can't pay you now, but I'll share part of the compensation if we win." The lawyer explains, "That's a contingency fee. We only get paid if you do." Contingency fees motivate lawyers to work efficiently and achieve the best outcome, but they must be agreed upon in writing to avoid misunderstandings about percentages and expenses. An invoice is a formal document that lists the legal services performed, the time spent, and the total amount owed by the client. It functions as both a record of work and a request for payment. The example: the firm sent an invoice detailing hours worked and disbursements. Invoices usually include the client's name, the lawyer's hourly rate or flat fee, the description of services, and the due date for payment. They may also list disbursements such as filing fees or postage. Imagine a client receives a bill by email and calls to ask, "What is this amount for?" The lawyer explains, "That's our invoice. It lists all the work completed this month and the expenses paid on your behalf." In legal practice, sending invoices regularly shows transparency and professionalism. It also helps clients understand how fees are calculated. A clear, well written invoice reduces misunderstandings and reinforces trust between lawyer and client. Disbursements are expenses that a lawyer pays to third parties while handling a client's case. These costs are not part of the lawyer's fee but are necessary to move the case forward. For example, disbursements included court filing fees and courier costs. Common disbursements include court filing fees, postage, translation costs, expert witness fees, and travel expenses. The lawyer pays these up front and later adds them to the client's invoice for reimbursement. Imagine a client asks, "Why are there extra charges on my bill?" The lawyer explains, "Those are disbursements, costs we pay to the court and service providers on your behalf." It's important for lawyers to keep receipts and list disbursements clearly on every invoice. Transparent billing prevents disputes and ensures clients understand exactly what they're paying for. In legal English, disbursements emphasizes accountability. It shows that every cost can be traced, justified, and documented properly. An advance payment is money the client pays before the lawyer begins working on a case. It's different from a retainer. While a retainer secures the lawyer's services, an advance payment usually covers expected initial expenses. Example: the firm requested an advance payment before starting the case. Advance payments may cover early disbursements, such as court fees, document preparation, or administrative costs. They protect both sides. The client knows what part of the payment will be used immediately, and the lawyer ensures that initial costs are covered. Imagine a client says, "Do I need to pay something now?" The lawyer replies, "Yes. An advance payment of $500 will cover the first stage of the process. You'll receive a full record of how it's used." Advance payments are typically held in the firm's trust account until the money is earned or spent. This system builds trust and transparency, ensuring that client funds are handled ethically and clearly. An estimate is an approximate calculation of how much a client's legal matter will cost. It helps clients understand potential expenses before agreeing to proceed. For example, the lawyer provided an estimate of $1,200 for the service. An estimate is not a fixed price, it's a prediction based on the lawyer's experience and the expected amount of work. However, clear estimates prevent misunderstandings and help clients plan financially. A client asks, "Can you tell me how much this will cost?" The lawyer replies, "It's difficult to say exactly, but I estimate around $1,200 to $1,500 depending on complexity." Lawyers often include estimates in their fee agreements and review them if the case changes. If the final cost exceeds the estimate, the lawyer should explain why and get the client's consent. Using the word estimate shows professionalism and transparency. It signals to the client that costs are being managed responsibly, that the lawyer values clear communication about money. An overdue payment is money that has not been paid by the client within the period agreed in the contract or invoice. In other words, it's a payment that is late. For example, the client was reminded about an overdue payment. Most law firms include payment terms, such as due within 30 days. If that deadline passes without payment, the amount becomes overdue. Firms may then send reminders, charge interest, or suspend further work until payment is received. Imagine a client forgets to pay their invoice. The lawyer sends an email saying, "We noticed that your payment is overdue." Please arrange settlement within the next 7 days. Managing overdue payments requires professionalism and diplomacy. Lawyers must protect the firm's financial health without damaging the client relationship. In legal English, overdue payment is often used in formal correspondence and accounting documents. It reminds clients of their obligations while keeping communication polite and respectful. Billable hours are the hours of work that lawyers record and charge to a client. They include any activity directly related to a client's matter: meetings, phone calls, drafting documents, and court appearances. For example, writing contracts and meeting clients count as billable hours. Each lawyer tracks their time carefully, usually in 6-minute or 15-minute units, to ensure fair and transparent billing. These hours are multiplied by the agreed hourly rate to calculate fees. Imagine, a client asks, "Why are there so many hours on my invoice?" The lawyer explains, "All of the time spent on your file, research, drafting, and communication is billable. We record each task so you can see exactly what you're paying for." Billable hours encourage accountability, but also require discipline. Lawyers must manage time efficiently, balancing billable work with administrative duties that cannot be charged. In professional legal English, billable hours symbolize productivity, fairness, and accurate timekeeping in legal billing. A trust account is a dedicated bank account that holds money belonging to clients, not to the lawyer or the law firm. It ensures that client funds are managed safely and transparently. Example: client retainers must be deposited in a trust account until earned. When a client pays a retainer or advance payment, that money goes into the trust account. It stays there until the lawyer completes work or incurs expenses. Only then can the funds be transferred to the firm's operating account. Imagine a client asks, "Where does my payment go?" The lawyer explains, "Your funds are placed in a trust account. This means they're kept separate and used only for your case." Trust accounts are required by professional conduct rules in many countries. Misusing client funds is a serious ethical violation and can lead to disciplinary action. In legal English, trust account represents integrity and accountability. It reassures clients that their money is secure and handled according to strict professional standards. Quantifiers help us describe money and quantity naturally when talking about billing. Lawyers often need to refer to how much time, money, or work has been completed. Example 1. We have a few unpaid invoices this month. A few means a small number, polite and factual, without sounding critical. Example 2. The client made some advance payments already. Some is neutral and positive. It recognizes progress without giving an exact number. Example 3. There aren't many disbursements left to record. Many is used with countable items like invoices or payments. Example 4. We handled a lot of matters for this client last year. A lot of emphasizes a high quantity, often used when summarizing work. These expressions make your English sound more diplomatic and accurate, which is essential in professional billing discussions. Instead of giving hard numbers, they help you communicate clearly and politely. These quantifiers show whether something is sufficient or excessive, a key concept in billing and fee discussions. Example 1. The client paid enough to cover the initial retainer. Enough expresses adequacy. The payment meets the requirement, so no extra is needed. Example 2. There were too many billable hours on this project. Too many describes an excessive number. countable items like hours or tasks. It signals inefficiency or unexpected work. Example 3. We spent too much time preparing unnecessary drafts. Too much applies to uncountable nouns like time, money, or effort. It indicates an excess that should be reduced in the future. Example 4. The deposit wasn't enough to cover disbursements. Not enough means insufficient funds or resources. Lawyers use these phrases when evaluating costs and managing client expectations. They help you discuss sensitive financial matters without sounding emotional or critical, focusing instead on objective assessment and planning. To agree on a fee structure means that the lawyer and client clearly decide how and when payment will be made. It can include whether fees are hourly, flat, or contingent, and how expenses like disbursements or taxes will be handled. For example, the lawyer and client agreed on a fee structure before starting the work. Agreeing on the fee structure early prevents confusion later. It ensures both sides understand the terms, deadlines, and expectations. Imagine, a client asks, "Do you charge by the hour or by the case?" The lawyer explains, "We can agree on a fee structure that suits your needs." For example, a flat fee for drafting documents or an hourly rate for consultation. Lawyers often confirm this agreement in writing through a fee agreement or engagement letter. These documents outline payment methods, billing frequency, and conditions for additional charges. In professional legal English, agree on a fee structure signals transparency and fairness. It builds trust and creates the foundation for a smooth professional relationship. To issue an invoice means to prepare and send a formal document requesting payment for legal work completed. The invoice shows the services performed, the hours billed, disbursements, taxes, and the total amount due. For example, the firm issued an invoice at the end of the month. In most firms, invoices are issued monthly or at the completion of a specific stage in the case. Regular billing shows professionalism and helps clients understand what they're paying for. Imagine a client asks, "When will I know how much I owe?" The lawyer explains, "We issue an invoice every 30 days detailing the hours worked and all disbursements. You'll always have a clear record of fees." Lawyers must also ensure that invoices follow ethical and legal requirements. Amounts should be reasonable, transparent, and consistent with the agreed fee structure. In legal English, issue an invoice reflects accountability. It's not just a financial act, but a communication tool that maintains transparency and strengthens trust between the lawyer and the client. To provide a cost estimate means to give the client an approximate idea of how much a legal matter is expected to cost. It's one of the first steps in any discussion about fees and helps clients plan their budget realistically. For example, before starting the project, the lawyer provided a cost estimate. Estimates include expected hours of work, possible disbursements, and potential risks that might increase costs. It's important to explain that an estimate is not a final bill. It's an informed prediction. Imagine, a client asks, "Can you tell me exactly how much this will cost?" The lawyer replies, "I can provide a cost estimate of around $2,000, but that may change depending on how the case develops." Lawyers should always update the estimate if new factors arise. This ensures honesty and prevents disputes about unexpected fees. In legal English, provide a cost estimate represents transparency and professionalism. It shows the lawyer respects the client's need for clarity before work begins. To review outstanding balances means to examine which invoices remain unpaid and how long they have been overdue. This process helps law firms manage their cash flow and remind clients about pending payments in a professional manner. For example, the firm reviewed all outstanding balances at the end of the quarter. Lawyers or firm administrators usually perform this review monthly or quarterly. It includes checking when invoices were issued, what amounts are still due, and whether any reminders or follow ups have been sent. Imagine a firm partner says, "Before we close the month, let's review outstanding balances." The billing assistant checks. 3 clients still owe payment from last month's invoices. I'll send polite reminders today. The goal is not to pressure clients, but to maintain accurate financial records and ensure smooth communication. In legal English, review outstanding balances demonstrates professionalism and responsibility. It shows that the firm is organized, financially disciplined, and transparent. Values that strengthen long-term relationships with clients. Let's look at some key concepts now. Fee agreement. A fee agreement is a written document that sets out how a lawyer will be paid, the hourly rate, flat fee, or contingency arrangement. It ensures both parties understand the cost and prevents future disputes. Every lawyer-client relationship should begin with a clear fee agreement. Payment terms. Payment terms describe when and how the client must pay. They include due dates, accepted payment methods, and possible interest for late payments. Clear payment terms maintain good relationships and help firms manage cash flow efficiently. Billing cycle. A billing cycle is the routine schedule a law firm follows for issuing invoices, usually monthly or at a project completion. A consistent billing cycle shows organization and allows clients to anticipate and plan their payments. Transparency. Transparency means being open and honest about how fees are calculated and what clients are being charged for. Transparent billing builds trust, avoids confusion, and reflects professional ethics. It's one of the foundations of good client communication. Let's finish this lesson with a real-world story that brings everything together. A business owner contacts a lawyer for help drafting a new partnership agreement. During their first meeting, the client asks directly, "Before we start, how much will it cost?" The lawyer begins by explaining options clearly. For this type of work, we can offer a flat fee or an hourly rate. A flat fee provides a clear total price, while hourly billing is based on time spent. The client prefers certainty, so they agree on a fee structure, a flat fee of $900. Next, the lawyer provides a cost estimate outlining what the fee includes: initial consultation, contract drafting, and 1 round of revisions. The client pays an advance payment, which is deposited into the firm's trust account. After the contract is completed, the firm issues an invoice summarizing the work and confirming that the retainer has been applied. The lawyer then reviews outstanding balances to ensure everything is up to date. This simple scenario demonstrates effective communication about fees using clear vocabulary, polite quantifiers, and professional transparency. The client leaves confident that costs are fair and well explained, the best result any lawyer can achieve in a fee discussion. Let's review what you learned today about discussing legal fees and billing with clients. First, we explored key vocabulary for financial communication and law: retainer, hourly rate, flat fee, contingency fee, invoice, disbursements, advance payment, estimate, overdue payment, billable hours, and trust account. These terms allow you to talk confidently about billing structures and client payments. Second, we practice grammar with quantifiers and money expressions like some, a few, many, enough, too much, and not enough, helping you describe costs lightly and precisely. And third, we learned essential legal phrases: agree on a fee structure, issue an invoice, provide a cost estimate, and review outstanding balances. These phrases make your communication professional and accurate. Fourth, we reviewed key concepts: fee agreements, payment terms, billing cycles, and transparency, which reflect best practices in law firm management. Finally, in our wrap up story, you saw how to negotiate fees with a new client using clear explanations, light language, and written estimates to build trust. Now, you can confidently discuss fees, explain billing, and manage client expectations using clear, professional legal English.